welcome to this episode of Coffee Break. I'm at the Haslett Food Pantry with Food Pantry Service Coordinator Ruth Linneman. Thank you so much for having us come and speak with you today.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. So the first question I have for you is can you just tell us a little bit about the Haslett Food Pantry, how and when it got started, as well as like daily operations?
Okay, we're here to serve people and provide food assistance to people that are residents of the Haslett School District. That's our boundaries. People tell me the food pantry's been in operation for 35 or 40 years and started with a corner cupboard in the church kitchen. We are now serving on average 80 households a month. And we work in cooperation with the Greater Lansing Food Bank. They provide our guidelines, and the goal is that we would provide food that would provide meals for the family for a week, about a week.
And then you were telling me there's something special about this food pantry. Can you kind of go into detail of that?
Our food pantry operates with what we call interview style. Some food pantries pre-pack food and have people come in on a certain day or a limited number of days. We do interview style, which means we have a match of when someone is available to receive their food, and when we have a volunteer available, they're here together, and it takes about 30 minutes. The volunteer then goes through every category of food that we have, and in almost all categories there's a choice. So the recipient gets to pick what flavor of spaghetti sauce they like, or what breakfast cereal they'll eat, and what fruits and vegetables, canned fruits and vegetables. So that way the recipient gets the food that they will most use, and what we have is the best match. It doesn't just walk out the door with someone saying, "Oh, I'll never use that," and then they throw it away, and that's not helpful to anything.
And there's also, besides just the food, there's like deodorant and toothbrushes and that kind of thing. Can you kind of go over what else you can get as well?
That we call personal needs. It's personal hygiene products and a couple household items, household cleaning, laundry soap, dish detergent. That also is quite unique to our food pantry. I think there are some others in the Greater Lansing area, but it's the minority that have that as well. We've had excellent support from the greater Haslett community, individuals, businesses, community food drives. All of that adds to the resources that we have to work from. So all the personal needs things, almost all of those are purchased. We're big customers at Dollar Tree.
And besides that, besides the personal need items, where does the food come from?
That's really a three-way combination. From food drives, there are many groups and organizations in the greater Haslett area that do food drives. Some businesses will even have out a food drive box. The library does, some other churches, and then they'll bring that food here. The postal workers food drives, scouts, the schools, all those are food drives. So that's a variety, mixture of food that comes in. I'm sure many people have seen the signs out at Meijer, Simply Give. So Meijer, for whatever a customer makes us a donation, Meijer does a dollar for dollar match, and even a couple days a year, even a double match. So for every $10 someone donates, Meijer puts in 20, we end up getting 30 because of that 10 donation and Meijer's 20 match. So then that, of course, is credit for shopping at Meijer, and so we buy a lot retail at Meijer, and that is retail. We shop sales. And the third, by being a partner with the Greater Lansing Food Bank, they operate a huge warehouse out by the airport, which is salvage food, close dated things, sometimes some damaged product, USDA product comes in there that we purchase from them, again at a reduced rate, but that is now, it varies from product to product. We were out there a couple weeks ago. We had ordered frozen meat from them, and the meat was priced at, I think, $5 for 30 pounds of meat. So, but they also have a whole produce area, and the produce you get for free, as much as you can take in 20 minutes. Oh, wow. We walked out with 150 pounds of produce, 120 pounds of meat for $21.60.
That's crazy.
Absolutely, but wonderful for the food pantries.
Yeah, that is. That's wonderful. How fast do you go through all of that food?
Well, let's see. it varies at the time of the month. Our first week is really our slowest. End of the month gets busy, and as I said, we have about 80 households a month, and our households range from seniors, a single, to we've got half a dozen households that have 7 or 8 people in them. So when you'd say, that goes out at probably 10, 12 pounds of meat to that household when they're here. So you can go through 120 pounds, the big households, and then, because that's back in these quantities of food, because there are other canned meats and things. It's not just the frozen meat, but still, we just keep on keeping on and just keep regathering it. We don't really ever track, well, how long was that here?
Yeah. Is there a limit to how often people can come or how much they can get?
Good question. The how much they get would be, again, these guidelines from the Greater Lansing Food Bank, which would be food that would make meals for about a week. The frequency is also the guideline from the Greater Lansing Food Bank. If someone is eligible to come once a month.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And then let's see what else I wanted to ask. What services are provided through the food pantry? Is it just the picking up of the food, or are there extra events or fundraising things that you do?
Fundraising we don't do explicitly. Certainly we cooperate with organizations. The American Legion does a fundraiser and chooses our food bank as a recipient. A couple businesses have, and that becomes then cash donations, because then we're using the cash to shop at the warehouse or Meijer or Dollar Tree. And certainly people are very generous donating as a community service. I mean, we're aware something this opportunity to get exposure of the food pantry, that people know we're here to serve the people of Haslett. So people say that's important, and they'll make cash donations to us. We don't have other. Probably one other subset of our food pantry, actually 2. We were talking before, a couple years ago, as our resources were becoming real flexible, we started becoming this operating, or being the source of the Haslett contributions of the weekend support kits. There are many other, again, that's a program of the Greater Lansing Food Bank that started it or operated it. We do that to the Haslett schools. Right now it's very, very small. Probably it's for families that have children in the reduced or free lunch. But it's the school that gives out the information about that. We're not in a position or responsibility to be promoting it, but we're probably reaching or providing that support for less than 1% of the students of the district. And we know there's way more than that on free and reduced lunch. So that's something new for us. We also do a pretty big program, again, with support from the schools at Christmas time. And that gets announced through anybody that's a family in the Haslett district. And we provide a holiday meal, groceries for a week, and gifts for children for about 100 families every Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet that's making a big difference, so especially at Christmas time.
Yeah.
How important would you say it is to have a food pantry like this in a community, especially in the wintertime?
Well, we certainly have people that come to the food pantry that are homeless. Not many, but they'll go, well, I'm couch surfing right now. Last week, someone was here from Lake City, but here staying with a relative. And so technically a version of homeless. Also blended households. And so all different circumstances, some with major health concerns, that they need financial support to be able to, or not financial, but they need food support because they're using their resources to cover other expenses.
And then there might be like a misconception that within like the Haslett community or Meridian Township as a whole that this isn't going on, or that there isn't really a need for this, but there is.
Absolutely. Yes, as I said, in the township, probably in the Haslett area, is where there is sort of tucked in some really old little houses and little apartment buildings, not not the Grand River kind of type, that are less expensive housing. So those are the people that are just really on the edge, working part-time and not being able to afford housing. Also here in Haslett, we have reduced and subsidized housing in the complex Grange Acres. So those are people that are on a fixed income, either senior or on disability. And all of that are the people that need support for food.
Yeah. So how did you find yourself kind of getting involved with this? What made you want to be involved?
A member here at the Haslett Community Church, and so work with the Community Mission Outreach Committee. Probably I started as a volunteer with the food pantry when I was working for a nonprofit and was working from my home before that was really vogue. And my house is about a mile away, and I go, well, I could serve people during my lunch hour. So did 2 appointments every Monday, and it's growing from there.
How does it make you feel doing that? It has to be an incredible feeling.
Right. I mean, in terms of, you take the cue from the people you're serving, but certainly there are those you get big hugs of, appreciation as they are valuing. Certainly when someone's coming here for the first time, I've certainly seen people marvel at, oh, I get all of this? And so that, to me, is an indication it's been a long time since they've really been able to grocery shop.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to tell me?
Certainly that support from the community is very valuable to us, and that's how we're able to operate with the flexibility and resources that we have. And we very much appreciate and value that support. And it makes life easy for us, if you will, because we can concentrate on helping people rather than scrambling to say, how are we going to operate?
And bringing up that support from the community for people who are at home watching this that want to get involved, can they get involved? Certainly. And how can they?
Actually, as I said, the food pantry is located at the Haslett Community Church, but probably a quarter to a third of the volunteers have no affiliation with the church. We're also a polling site. And a couple years ago, a woman that was here to vote, the food pantry happened to be open and serving somebody. She called and says, hey, can I volunteer at the food pantry? I go, sure thing, And so there are volunteers that are involved in different ways, directly assisting people, but also a real behind-the-scenes role of helping to sort food that comes in on food drives. There's certainly a variety of ways, and we very much welcome people being directly involved, certainly as we talked about the contributions, but that all helps. Right now, we don't have a volunteer on Wednesday afternoon. We used to have 2, so I've got my ears open for people that might want to serve people on actually a Wednesday afternoon.
What are the hours of operation for the food bank? Is it?
Well, because of the way we do this match between the volunteers and the recipient, it's not like we're open every day from 10 to 4. It's when the volunteers are available. And happily, right now, we have 2 volunteers that are interested and available to serve evening and on Saturday. And those are really valuable times for our recipients because of people that are working or working part-time or having to blend. They've got 1 vehicle, and so the only time I can get there is when the vehicle is home from work.
For the recipients, you mentioned they kind of fill out like an application. How does that work? Do they call you and make an appointment to come here?
Yes, absolutely. And the call for anyone, call no one. We use a voicemail system because you call in, leave a message on the food pantry line, 339-8383 extension 15, and leave a message that you want food pantry service. A volunteer will call them back to, first of all, find out, do they live in the Haslett School District, and then find a time when they can be here and when we have a volunteer service available. The information we request is the food form is a standard form that asks for name and address and the names of the people and ages of the people in the household, because that information we have to report back to the Greater Lansing Food Bank, and they link it to the variety of systems that support their network. technically the form is even linked because I said one of our batches of food is USDA, and so on the form everyone needs to sign the form that say I meet one of these 3 criteria, and we don't, again, every food pantry does it different. We don't ask for, people don't have to bring in pay stubs or document their income, but there is a statement, my income is at or below this level, or I'm in a USDA program, and they sign that, so it's their statement that they meet those criteria.
And do they have to be like residents of Haslett?
Haslett School District,
Haslett School District,
which technically even includes some people in Clinton County, because the township line and the county line is south of Saginaw, you know, up at the Bath Mire. So there's a large trailer court, Dutch Hills. We certainly have recipients that live there. That's in the Haslett School District. It is in Clinton County.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for the work that you do and for taking the time to speak with us. I'm Elissa Kedziorek, and thank you for watching this episode of Coffee Break.